Okay. All right, so number 18, and we are working with completing the square. So I will tell you that completing the square, if you follow the steps that were on the PowerPoint, I feel those steps are very confusing. They're pretty wordy for what you actually have to do. So here's completing the square, J's quick style. You look at the middle term, which is 4z. You're going to focus just on the 4. You take 1/2 of the middle term, and then you square it. So half of 4 is 2, and then 2 squared is 4 again. That's why this one's kind of confusing, because you kind of feel like you're just taking it twice, like you're just taking the middle term and adding it to both sides, but you're not really. Okay, it just kind of works out that way. All right, so once we do that, we can actually go directly into our perfect square, because that's the whole point of completing the square, is to get it to be nice and simple. And then you're just going to take both sides and square them. And suddenly you change from a z to an x, because that's what I do. Okay, so the square root of 24 is plus or minus 2 square root of 6. I'll just help you out with that one. So then z is equal to -2 plus or minus 2 square root of 6. Okie dokie. And Ange, it's totally up to you if you want to work on your quiz and you'd rather bounce out because you're good to go, then I'm okay with that.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, that made it so much easier the way you just showed me, because I was following the PowerPoint style and I thought I was getting it wrong.
No, you're good.
Okay.
Okay, so that's that one. Anybody else have any questions on the completing the square? Questions with the steps, how we got there? I do apologize that this question ends up looking like you're adding the middle term twice, but you're really not. So don't try to do that on any other problem. Work the steps out, and if it happens to be the same, cool. If it's different, then you know you did it the right way. All right, so I'll save this picture just in case anyone needs it. All right, next question. And you can go backwards. Ange just had that question on 18, but you guys can, ask me any of the questions. I have them all done.
Can we go over 23? The paraboloid thingy.
The parabolic, yeah. No worries. Okay, so 23 takes a lot of paperwork. So if I have to use more than one slide or, whiteboard area, just bear with me. Okay, so the first thing you're doing from number 23 is you're given the points, and I'll try to find a place to write them so you guys can have them. So you're given in fact, I think I'm just going to kind of hide you guys so I have enough room. Here we go. Okay, so we are given the points 1, 4, 2, 7, and 4, 25. Now, if those should be wrong for any reason, just go with these points because that's what I have my work for. Let me try and move this over a little bit. 23. Okay. All right. So the first thing we have to do is we have to figure out our 3 equations. And the way you figure out the 3 equations is you look at your points. So the standard form, our end goal is y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. Now, we want to know a, b, and c. That's what we're trying to figure out. So if we plug in the points 1, 4, we would get 1 squared is 1, so we get a. 1 times b is b. C stays the same, and the output is 4. That's equation 1. To find equation 2, we're now going to put in the point 2, 7. 2 squared is 4, so 4a. 2b plus c, and the output is 7. And then the last one, we're going to plug in the point 425. Well, 4 squared is 16. 4b plus c, and the output is 25. That's the first hard thing you have to do. Okay, so you have to remember how to do that. Once you do that, your first step is to isolate a. So the way I did it is I just isolated a right here. So a equals 4 minus b minus c. This is the way I chose to do it. I think we did it following the PowerPoint steps the other day, and they kind of do it a little bit differently than me, but either approach is going to get you the same answer. So the next thing I did was I actually plugged a in for the other 2 equations. So I kind of rewrote these. That way they're both in terms of just b and c. Okay. All right, so the next thing I did was I isolated for b. Okay, so oh, I see. So I cleared this up. I made this nicer first. This one becomes negative 2b. Can you guys still see all this? I don't want to be like writing and you can't see it.
Yeah, we can.
Okay, cool. Minus 3c plus 16 equals 7. If you can't see how I get from one to the other, let me know, but I'm just trying to save space. I basically just went through and collected my like terms. Okay, sorry that one wouldn't fit really nicely. Okay, so once I did that, I pulled down and isolated for B using, I think, the top one. So I did 7 equals negative 2b minus 3c plus 16. So then if you bring this over, you get negative 2b minus 3c equals 9. Why is that sign a negative? Hold on a second, guys. I just don't want to steer you wrong. And of course, I didn't check my answer, so someone's gonna have to check our answer. I think this sign, my sign for B ended up being wrong, but we're gonna do it the correct way, and then someone's gonna have to check us. Okay, so when we solve for B here, we're gonna add 3c to both sides. So minus 2b equals 3c plus 9 divided by negative 2. All right, do we see we agree that's B? Oh, that's what I did. I just brought the negative up top instead of on the bottom. Okay, we might still be good. Okay, so now we have to solve for C. So I brought down the last equation, 25 minus 12, and then we're going to plug in for B. So 3c plus 9, negative 2, minus 15c plus 64. Okay. All right, we're going to subtract 64 on both sides. What the heck? Okay, so let's clean this up. Negative 12 divided by negative 2 gives us a what?
Negative 6.
It's actually going to be positive because negative and a negative.
Oh, my bad.
You're okay. So we get 25 equals, and we're going to distribute that 6. So 18c. And then what's 6 times 9 give us? 54 minus 15, and that's a C, plus 64. I really liked my answer better on paper. This answer looks like we're going to end up with something really big, but I didn't check it, so I don't know. Okay, so 3C. And what's that give us over here? 54 and 64 give us what?
118.
Okay, so we're going to have to subtract 118 to the other side. So 25 minus 118 is negative 93. Yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So oh, this is where my problem was. So when we solved for B up here, guys, Do you see how we essentially moved the B to the left? We didn't change the sign here. So when we moved it to this side, it should have been positive. Makes that negative, makes that positive, and that positive, and this negative, which makes this negative and this positive. So then nope. Wow, I'm really sorry, guys. I promise I did this in advance. It's just not, apparently not my day for signs today. Okay, that's correct. This 18 stays positive. This 54 becomes negative. Much better. There we go. So then this is a positive 10 on this side. Much better answer. We're going to stick with what I had originally. Okay. Subtract 10 on both sides. What are we going to get for C? C is going to equal what?
5.
Mm-hmm. And that's a lot better than that gross fraction we would have had. So now that we have C, what can we then get? What was written in terms of just C and B? We can get this part, right? Okay, so we're going to plug in for B. So B equals -3 times 5 plus 9 divided by 2. So what does B equal? -15 plus 9 divided by 2. What are we going to get for B?
-3.
-3.
Excellent. Okay. And then last one, we're going to plug in for our A. A was 4 minus B, which is a -3, so we're going to add it, minus C. So A equals essentially 7 minus 5, so A equals 2. Is that your final answer, or do you have one more step?
I think there's one more step.
There is. We have to plug it into the standard form. So 2x squared minus 3x plus 5. That's technically your last step. You could check it by plugging in these 4 points. If you get their answers out, then you would have the correct equation. Obviously, I don't really have enough room to do that. I do super apologize for all those sign issues that I had on this one. Definitely makes a difference between writing it on paper and writing it on this board. All right, so that was 23, super long. I'm sure a little bit more confusing than it needed to be due to my mistakes on the board with the signs. Anyone need that kind of re-talked through or have any questions with it? Essentially, if you can figure out your equations, half your battle's already done. Once you get your equations figured out, then you can go through and you can isolate your variables. You can use either the examples that I've done with you, or you can use the example on the PowerPoint. Either one should get you to your answer on the exam. All right. What's the next question? I'm not going to say any other questions because I assume you guys will have something.
Can you do a 15?
Mm-hmm. Okay, 15. All right, just working with some negative exponents. So a to the 12th, b to the negative 4 over 6, a to the 7th, b to the negative 11. Okay, so the first thing you want to get, kind of get on lock is your coefficients. So negative 24 divided by 6 is going to give you what?
-4.
Mm-hmm. So there's that part. And that's going to stay on the top because it's just a regular number. We don't really care about it, so it's staying on top. The next thing you want to look at are your a's. You have a to the 12th and a to the 7th. So you're going to say, okay, division means subtraction with exponents. So 12 minus 7 is what?
5.
Okay, so a to the 5th. 5 is positive, so we're keeping it up top. Now the next one gets a little tricky. You could choose to move it around. I like using the subtraction technique. So -4 minus a -11 is going to end up making it a positive answer. So 11 minus 4 is what?
7.
And that is how you do 15.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Thank you for letting me redeem myself a little bit there. Much nicer problem for me. All right. Any other questions? I will do any of them. I just won't do the ones that are actually from your exam. I will tell you that even though I give partial credit, number 25, I think it's 25. Yeah, number 25, you will not get partial credit. It's multiple choice. So you either get it right or you don't. Maybe I'll give like half a point if you get half of it right, but the rest of it wrong. So I don't know. I'll decide. It'll depend on my mood when I'm grading. Okay, so I want to make sure you guys are getting all the questions answered that you need. So does anyone need anything else? Are we good with number 21? That's where you have to find your triple.
Can you do 21?
Sure. Actually, let's use a purple. We haven't used purple in a while. So we're going to do 21. 21 gives you P plus 4Q plus 3R equals 15. And then you're given 4Q plus 3R equals 19. And then you're actually given R equal to -3. So that's kind of nice because then you can just come right up from R and you can rewrite and find Q. So 4Q plus 3 times negative 3 equals 19. Well, 4Q minus 9, we're going to add 9 to both sides. So 4Q equals 19, and 9 are going to give us what? Wow, my writing on this today is not doing good. 4Q equals 28. We're going to divide both sides by 4. So Q is actually going to be 7. Well, now that we have Q and R, we can actually solve for P. So then P plus 28 minus 9 equals 15. 28 minus 9. If we subtract 28 and add 9 to the opposite side, we end up with P equals negative 4. So then your triple is just negative 4, 7, negative 3. That is your answer. If you wanted to go back through and check, you would just have to make sure that not only the first one worked, but that the second and third would work, but this one's given to you. So that's it. That's your answer. Can't figure it out any other way. All right. Those are definitely the two that I think are the hardest for your exam. The rest you could make small mistakes, but really those are the two big guys. I'm not gonna go over 25 with you. So anyone have any other questions? We don't have to stay on the whole time if you don't have other questions, so just let me know.